This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
A charming young woman, she had a kiss with a young man. Well, a charming young woman, she had a kiss with a young man. She said the man kick she up and take she money. So she got a warrant from the JP. Next day the case, well, you ought to know, she had the whole courthouse in a uproar. She say, my honor, he kicked me up. They hold him.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is Tuesday, July 4th, until after 11 o'clock in the morning. Once again, this is CA Newry, and we're talking music. We're talking whether there is space for jazz music or space for any other genre inside the Bahamas. Well, it wasn't yesterday. It was Saturday, Aaron, when they had the big concert, the band concert, where the Bahama Rock concert, where the Bahamas showcased a variety of different types of bands. They had reggae bands, they had jazz, they had rap bands. I didn't hear them, but they said they had a different version of calypso and goombay and soca music being played at this battle of bands. And of course, at one point in time, as we celebrate our independence celebration, there was concern whether there is room, accommodation for different type of musics into the Bahamas. So this is how we got this conversation, right? We decided to bring in some jazz artists to come in and basically tell their story, to celebrate what it is to be a jazz artist. Is there space and room for them? Is jazz music Bahamian music? Or Bahamian music should be supreme? And that's what our conversation is going to be today as we have a conversation with that.
Right. I just wanted to say that this conversation actually composed itself, right? Because we started talking yesterday, and before we could leave the studio, a jazz artist called in, right? And she's in studio with us right now. Before we could leave the parking lot, we met a jazz artist in the parking lot, right? Conversation composed itself. The conversation proved that it is the conversation to have right now. These people just pop right up.
I didn't know we had that many jazz artists in the Bahamas.
No, that's all before. That's because you be sunken.
Yeah, but I listen to Bahamian music.
I know that we have a ton of jazz artists. I just don't know when and where they perform. Also, it's of all of the genres of music that is hard to locate online, it's the jazz artists. There are lots out there. And I know that there's lots of music documented, right? Like there's lots of music on YouTube, but to find them.
And also I want to just point this out. Are the jazz artists composing their own music, or are they cover artists? I want to know that too, in terms of how do we celebrate them?
It's a little bit of both. And as I was, I started saying that I started out singing reggae from the last hour. And then,
Miss Sherelle Cartwright.
Sherelle Cartwright, yes. Sherelle Sultress Cartwright. Sultress was the nickname given to me by Link Scavella. When I first started out, back then the Musicians Union was the only union around, and you could go to the Musicians Union and basically practice, rehearse with other people, and you got a lot of people that passed through those doors. That has not happened since, I don't know how long, but it was kind of where we got together as young up-and-coming artists. We got exposed to a lot of people and a lot of styles and stuff like that. So from singing reggae with the Far Right Troopers, I went to France.
Pause. When you say from singing reggae from the Far Right Troopers, right? Let's go. How did you meet the Far Right Troopers?
Actually, when I was in studio, remember I told you I started out, with Dwayne Hyler, and in his brothers, he turned his brother's office, Royce Hyler, into a studio after hours.
Right.
And I didn't realize it when he asked me to sing. So I started singing No One in the World by Anita Baker. And he just started dropping the beat to it.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that he recorded it.
Okay.
So when I came to work the next day, everybody inside there was going crazy because you could hear it just blasting all throughout the office, right? And from there, people started, well, oh, yeah, this girl could sing, and so I kind of got into it like word of mouth because they were talking to the people from the Far Right Troopers.
Right.
And just how musicians are. When they start talking about, hey, this one, she could do this, whatever, and she had this song she did with this reggae beat, and from there where they asked me to join them. And so I think I came after Therese.
Wow.
So Therese used to sing with them.
Well, Mr. Bus Driver, I ain't getting off. I ain't getting off.
But see, that's still this bohemian genre, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever bohemian genre is, because we still have no definition of what a bohemian genre is, right? Because there should be different
Subcategories.
See,
But I no, 1 minute. I know that Mr. Munnings was saying earlier that we shouldn't
put it in the box.
Put it in the box.
And I agree.
But as a culturalist, right, who's trying to promote bohemian culture and trying to build on bohemian culture, clearly there needs to be a defining of who we are. And as we define who we are, we can appreciate a jazz, we can appreciate a rock, we can appreciate a rap music. But if without defining who we are, we find that these other genres are defined and be proliferated and go forward, and that what we think we are or what we're trying to build is diminutive. Is not getting developed. And I don't think that conversation is being held, or that conversation when you speak to the Seban, just make it wide open for everybody. And that is my concern.
Now, I could appreciate making it wide open. I think it should be wide open for everybody, but you do need a name. If it doesn't have a name, then we can't talk about it, right? And so I say the name is important, right? Because naming the genres then allows us to keep what is Bahamian wide open.
Yes, and the genre cannot be Bahamian music because that don't make no sense.
See,
You don't call it
frankly,
calypso Trinidadian music.
see-
You call it calypso.
Right.
the thing is, you all want to put it in a box, right? As a musician or an entertainer or whatever you want to call me, it's all about creativity, right? Now, maybe for you, it's some way to identify if that makes it easier for you. Like me, my style, I think any genre that a Bahamian artist does is Bahamian music. If that singer is a Bahamian, whether it's Bahamian rap, whether it's jazz, whether it's calypso, whether it's soca, whether it's rake and scrape, whatever it is.
But I find that is only being said here in the Bahamas. It's not being said around the world.
Well, because we don't have a particular, some people say rake and scrape, some people say Junkanoo. But how do you market that for the world?
And that's because we
is the
can't market it
problem.
because no one sees value in it.
No,
And
it isn't that
that's-
nobody
and that's,
see value in
and
it.
that's my concern.
No,
that the
no, no, no,
value
no, no, no.
of what
No,
is
no.
Bahamian is not being pushed
No.
forward.
I don't-
And we are anemic in terms of our culture.
No.
And that we're being starved. And eventually,
Like-
I think we are at the point where our true culture is going to be siphoned off because we're not pushing it or doing a blood transfusion to keep it alive.
The thing about it is, when it comes to Junkanoo music and you're talking about adding vocals to that, it's not as simple as that. It's all in the construct, and some things are just easier to appreciate as is.
Yeah, I don't
Without
think we should.
vocals.
I don't think we should add. I don't think we should add vocals to Junkanoo performance. I do think, however, that Junkanoo artists should pull music from the culture, right? And so when Junkanoo artists perform, they perform songs that we know already. We already know the lyrics to the song. Like I referenced yesterday, one of the groups, I think it was the Roots, in the gate there, coming out the gate, right? It was the second lap, or the third lap, it's in the morning, lights up. And they played the song, I Got Five on It. Popular urban hip-hop song. Popular song. The group didn't need to sing anything. everybody on Bay Street was singing the lyrics to the song. And then they became and this is the part. Then they became a part of the performance, and that's what I love. That's the part I love about Junkanoo. This the music. The music isn't just how loud is the music and it's consistent. Is does the music evoke participation from the crowd? Have you picked the song and played it in a way that caused the whole of Bay Street singing the song along with you? And that's Junkanoo performance. And so that's where the tension is now between Bay Street parades and Junkanoo practices. Because Junkanoo practice has become this big thing. It's become a Junkanoo experience in and of itself. And so the tension between those two performances is simply how do the spectators get to participate in the experience of Junkanoo? The Junkanoo itself don't need the lyrics.
And I think we still have Jalen on the Zoom, and if he's there, he can chime in too. And of course, I need you to chime in too.
And repeat, Eden, repeat your performance name for us.
My performance name is Elena Eden.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Elena
That's
Eden.
my platforms online as well.
Okay.
And Jalen, if you're there, I want to know: is there any tension between those who claim, and see the wording here, those who claim that they produce bohemian music, whatever that is, right, versus a jazz performer, a international type of performance?
See, but your language so loaded, Mr. Newry.
Of course it's loaded. I'm a loaded type person. Because, again, I don't know what bohemian music is because we have yet to define it. And no one seems see it as important.
See, because I can tell you...
To have it defined. Because we should have it defined now. We're 50.
I mean, I understand. I can see where you're coming from. You know, if you really look deep into it, what really is bohemian music?
Right into the mic.
But to me, if you just look at it, you know what bohemian music is. We hear it all the time. We're hearing it on the radios. You know, that feeling that you get once you hear that song. You know, I could say go smooth. You hear that? It's stories in the song, man. That's bohemian music. It's a storyline sang to you. It's the feeling you get once you stand on the side of the road and you hear it. Once you hear that Junkanoo start looking up. That's bohemian music. That's the feeling in the soul that you feel. Bohemian music ain't only... It's not what the music is. It's the artist. You know,
it's the vibe.
Listen,
when Avi say this man drunk, hot dog, south 6 a.m, sun is dawning, and women running out. That's black shoes, black shirt, hiding on the side of dirt.
Listen,
Inspector looking for me. My wife put me on a APB.
Man, all the black shoe and black shirt gone. Listen, you wouldn't know about stories like this. What his name? Ronnie Butler. He teach me how to make a whole soup in a song.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to do that. Man, listen, it's all about the culture explained to you through song and the feeling of being proud as a Bahamian, being brought through music.
Now, Gifton, how do you bring that experience through your horn? How do you... See, because Peanuts, he did it with the drum, and he played the melody. He made Mary Had a Little very Bahamian. How do you do that with the horn?
You know, that's a great question. I think it's a good conversation to have because I think that the main thing that differentiates like what we so-called genres is the rhythm, right? And you look at rhythm being something that's the most important thing and the thing we cherish. And that's actually what, you know, give us the kind of thing of, oh, this is Bahamian music or this is Junkanoo, or like the rhythm is what's kind of is the driving force. And I think if we start to then look at, you know, now it's a combination of, you know, the music that I'm inspired by, like gospel music, you know, Junkanoo music, Bahamian music, Haitian music, and, you know, all, I would say Bahamian music and also just jazz music. And that just kind of put them all together. And to say there's a name specifically for that, I don't think there's a specific name for that. But I do think that when people have this connection to Bahamian music, it's kind of just like a way for us to really market it. And sometimes you can't blame people for, you know, having to put something on it. But I think we shouldn't necessarily like hold so closely, you know, into that itself, but just think about how could we actually start to add to the canon? How can we add to the Bahamian canon by just being ourselves? And because it's the experience, like a lot of the stories that we're hearing in these songs are the experiences of Ronnie Butler, so the Bahamian experience is actually what makes it Bahamian, if that makes sense. So like, if I'm a Bahamian, if I'm someone that lived in the Bahamas for how, and I've had all these experiences, whatever I create or whatever I express is always going to be coming from the Bahamian sort of lens. And so that's part of the reason why we are always inherently, anything we do is always going to tie back. So I do think that as long as we continue to express and try to find like just all the many different type of ways we can, kind of put ourselves out there, that's only going to help the Bahamian sort of like music sort of community, because it's literally everybody that's a part of it. The more we continue to just like create, that's more volume for there to be something out there that can then become the next Bahamian kind of who let the dogs out kind of things.
So thank you, Gifton. I got a caller on the line, and when we're done with the caller, we get back to that point. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Aaron Green.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay.
This is Scratch and Tap.
You know that.
Morning. This is a Bahamian artist expanding the Bahamian lexicon with a new style of music called Scratch and Tap.
Tap and scratch.
Anytime you call,
tap and scratch.
I give you the 2 minutes to sing. So if you want to do that 2 minutes now.
That's Newry. Yes.
Newry, you want to hear me sing again? And then I hear you hang up on me one night.
You singing too long. You went over the time period.
Listen, I will hear it now. You talking too much. Let me hear this tap and scratch now. Let me hear this. Nuri, you need to be quiet now. Let me hear this thing.
Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Newry, baby, you hung up on me. You ran up and give me a little bit of tap. You hang up on me. I don't know what's for. Newry, you better listen to me. I got something new for you. Yeah, come on, tap and scratch, tap and scratch. Yeah.
Now I love it because for me it's the blues, right? It's the blues that's missing in some of the rake and scrape for me. That's a fusion that I want to hear. Blues, because this ain't nothing like a miserable Bahamian who they're going to create kinetic energy with the experiences, right?
It was kind of like, the improvisation of scatting.
Yes, exactly. Yes, man. Absolutely. Listen, tap and scratch.
Yeah.
Tap and scratch.
I mean, I wouldn't mind checking all out at the old little venue,
Spotlight Lounge.
Huh?
The Spotlight Lounge we were talking about in the first hour.
Yeah, where is it located?
It is
when you come around the roundabout, Coral Harbor roundabout, heading west. That's Adelaide Road.
Yeah, by Oasis.
No, you ain't that far.
Okay.
It's the second corner. It's the plaza that's right on the second corner on the left.
That's on Adelaide Road. When you go to turn to Adelaide?
Yes, not to Adelaide. You're not going that far down. Once you come around onto Adelaide Road, so you'll be heading west.
Yeah, I know.
When you head west, you're going to see two corners, just count two corners on the left, and you will see a plaza right there, and you'll see the sign that it says Spotlight Lounge too.
Okay. I'll check it on Easter and Sunday.
Yeah, Wednesday is good. Wednesday is when they have the talent night.
Right.
So, like 8 o'clock.
That's all it means. Anyone can just go and just do a little number.
Yeah, you can do a little number now. We don't like no bad singing now, so I ain't talking for her, right? But
see, that's the part there. I thank you very much, Paula. That's the part right there. I've been waiting for this, Nuri. This is the part. See, this is where me and the jazz artists can fall out.
Go ahead.
Because they have such a strict criteria for the quality of your performance. Now, I mean, I guess
we want serious people, man.
No, but don't
when
say
I
that.
Say, well, I shouldn't say it like no. What I'm saying is this.
I noticed that word.
No, it ain't no karaoke. What it is if you have a talent. Let me put it there so I don't sound so snobby. Then my thing is this, right? You have a talent, and you're willing to come and share your talent with other people. We want you to be serious and passionate about your talent.
Yes.
So that guess what? Whatever it is, it comes through the way it's supposed to come through. We don't want nobody coming up there to be clowning. You know what I mean?
Coming up there laughing.
You gotta come
that
serious.
I appreciate.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Don't go wasting people's time.
Yeah, ain't nobody into that.
This isn't a happy hour open mic.
No.
This is a space for people who are, like Erica Badu say, I'm serious about my work.
Yes.
I am a guttural singer. I'm a Nina Simone in the heaviest of days, right? I'm a Billie Holiday on the darkest of days. I got that deep guttural, and some people can say, man, Miss Green, that ain't really a classically trained voice. And I'm going to say, but I got to let the blues come through me the way the blues comes through me.
But your voice is your voice.
That's called humming.
Your voice is your voice.
Second of all, let me say something. I go to church sometimes. I like the honesty part about that. But I used to go to St. Anne's. And at St. Anne's, we had this mantra, raise a joyous noise unto the Lord. What was unspoken is that some of us were not the best singers. That ain't the point. The point is, not all of us have that classically trained voice. Right?
You don't have to have that.
Good.
I didn't do any training. Actually, well, let's put it like this. I had signed up for some training sessions with Lee Callender. I made it to one voice lesson. And after that, he banned me. He said because I was not consistent coming to
the
practices. So after I canceled on him 3 times after that first one, he's like, well, listen here, thanks for the money, but I don't have no time to waste.
Listen, he always told me that too. He said, listen, if you ain't coming to put in that work, and I see the potential you have, it's a dedication to singing that you need to have, and if you don't have that, man, then why you here?
Yeah.
He taught me all.
That's what you're saying, Miss Cartwright.
But
don't come unless you have that dedication to the craft.
See, and before we change the segment, I know we have one more caller here, and I want to know where Gifton Jalen, what he's doing now in terms of where can people find his work and
right. And if I'm in the States,
yes.
Where can I find you? When's your next?
And I want everyone to do that too. Where can we find you in terms of performance? But I see this one caller here. Let's do that one caller. Then we go back to Jalen, and then we do the room in terms of where can I find you in terms of celebrating your music. So let's go to the caller first. Go ahead.
Good morning to Miss Green and Mr. Newry and to all your guests. I just want to say that Miss Elena Manning has some serious talent.
Hi, Grammy.
Hi, baby. Oh, Grammy didn't want them to know who she was.
Listen, Grammy, be proud, yo.
I am proud, my child. I can tell you, and
That's
my
right.
baby can sing. Boy needs to hear her because she can sing. She went all the way to Tennessee and won first prize in the Tennessee State Fair.
Excellent.
Yes, so
Excellent.
my baby got some voice there. She can sing. And I would just encourage all the other artists and, of course, our people to encourage the young people, in doing their craft. And we need to do more for entertainment in this Bahamas.
Yes.
Because when I was coming up, we had all those great nightclubs, where people would go and sit down and have a decent time, and there was no problems. And they were on Bay Street, and you could go over the hill. And, there's so many different places that you could attend and no problems. And you had artists performing, and people enjoy that sort of thing. Tourists want to hear our Bahamian talent.
And
they want to hear that.
Grammy.
And like she said, Elena said, different things can be done.
Yes.
And it is true. And the young people, y'all got to, try and help them as much as you can.
Yes, ma'am. I'd just like to say that we in the studio, we're jealous because we know of which you speak, but we didn't get to experience it. Y'all didn't just have the best nightclubs and the best music. Y'all had entertainers from all across the globe.
Yes.
They didn't just get paid to come perform here. They was like, listen, can I go and perform in the Bahamas, please?
Right. That's right. That's the truth. And I mean, honestly, that experience back then, you can't buy it now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't pay for that sort of I had growing up and that I had as a young woman. I mean, it was just great.
You could imagine.
My cousins, David and Jonathan Camp, they were entertainers.
Yes, ma'am. Did you call him Jonathan Camp?
Yep. That was
See?
Yes, and Miss Green, your daddy was my good friend.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, I appreciate the days that I came up in for all that we had then and what I see lacking today.
Yes, ma'am.
So, like manners and respect is gone. It's gone out the door.
Yes.
And we need to go back. We need to go back to basics.
Yes,
So we had
ma'am.
principles and morals, and when we look after our people, we need to go back there.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, I just want y'all to know that my baby can sing.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
And
Yes.
I'm glad you called in to support her today because you see she was challenging
That's right.
me. I had
Yes,
to
and the
open
thing
up.
about it is, I said sometimes I hear her trying to say something, and I said, Lord, they ain't giving my baby a chance to talk.
All right, all right, Grammy.
No, she good. We got her. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay, take it out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have another caller here. Let's patch that caller through to give him all the opportunity to speak. Go ahead, caller, producer, patch the caller through.
Newry. Once again, and due to Miss Green and the guests and there.
Morning.
When we talk about the talent and what the lady said just now, Miss Green, we had nightclubs from Montague Beach. Not in Montague, from Fox Hill. From Fox Hill over to Bay Street, down from Montague Beach, straight to Lycett Key. Mm-hmm. You could come over Blue Hill Road. You had the Silver Slipper. You had the Zanzibar. You could go right down on East Street. You had nightclubs, not bars, you know. You had nightclubs all the way down to the Conch Shell, opposite where National Insurance is, where Supervalue is.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bow. You had the Bluebird, the Yellow Bird Club, right next to where Columbus Primary is. The next lot east was the Yellow Bird Club. You had the Central Highway Inn, where Smokey 007 and them used to perform for Percy Munnins. You had all the way up Wolf Road. You had Robertson Road was a track road then.
Sparky.
You had this thing on. Let me tell you something before I go. I mentioned Duke Elstron.
Yeah.
You know Duke Elstron is 90 years. I would like you to go up Soldier Road and interview him, Miss Green,
Listen,
before he passed away.
message me and give me a contact.
Hello?
Message me and send me a contact so I can arrange that.
You, but you don't answer me.
You don't mind that. Look at what you're talking about now.
But look here, Duke Elstron is still at Soldier Road teaching young children music.
Yes, we
Duke
can.
Elstron used to be in Le Cabaret. He was the maestro with the orchestra for the music in the Le Cabaret Theater. PI.
Sparky, I get it. I cut you
Can I,
for two
can I
reasons.
get your number from the producer?
Yeah. Producer, no, you can take it right now. 428-0719. 428
428-0719.
Yeah.
Sparky, don't
Okay,
hold him.
ma'am. Some people you need to talk with, ma'am.
Without a doubt, Sparky.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
428.
0719.
428.
0719.
Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Now I mad, Cecil. I jealous and I mad. I could say Corinne Mitchell wouldn't let me off the side porch when all of this excitement. I mean, mind you, I probably was only 10 when all this excitement was happening. So don't feel, my friend Eden, don't feel no way. Me and you, we in the studio, we jealous because he ain't lie. And your Grammy ain't lie. They ain't tell one lie. This place was hopping. When these young people talk about it lit, they don't know what it lit means.
We'll have a
And
show on
every
what happened.
place
What had
had
happened.
live music.
Yes.
But this is a
All of
different
them
era.
had bands.
Right, it is a different era.
And we need to find out what went wrong or what changed, why it isn't happening anymore.
And-
Can we afford live music? Right? The
You can
band.
afford it then, why can't you afford it now?
I feel it's just
Because
that
it's
the
near
focus
cheap,
is
it's near free then. Now, I
No,
mean,
it's
it's
not,
like it's like
no.
$3,000 per band, whereas a DJ is $300.
No,
You know,
no,
that's a big-
no.
that's a
It
big
ain't
difference.
that. It ain't that
No,
nobody
no,
have
no.
the money for it. It's just that the focus is shifted.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. All it takes is one seed saying, "Hey, so what really happened to the live bands?" To somebody high up that could make those decisions to bring it back, and they say, "Well, let's look into it." And then they start to be implemented again. It's just up to the person to decide. Listen, let's do it, or let's focus on something else.
But the thing is, what you pay for a gig for one night is different from a regular gig. So if you have a club and you want to have a band there for 3 nights, then the rates adjust and you can negotiate. You don't pay $3,000 a night necessarily
For a house band
for
or-
a house band.
Interesting.
A house performance.
So that is one of the key things. And I think that was what stopped us from having such a successful, one of the reasons, because a lot of the artists started undercutting each other. Okay, and whereas the standard might be, just say for instance, you make $100 a night, and I'm just saying that it
Yeah.
ain't that, but just say you make $100 a night. What we started to have amongst ourselves were musicians or artists who were Okay, well, they say 100, which is the standard rate. Let me do it for $50. And so when they started opening up that floodgate just to undercut other musicians, we did a disservice to ourselves. Because like I tell them, when I go on stage, I gotta get fixed up, I gotta get hairdo, I gotta get the bling,
because you
makeup, the
expect-
whole
Yeah,
nine, and the outfit.
You expect your performance to look
Man,
right.
this ain't no
Listen,
cheap
and
thrill.
Music is a passion sport.
This ain't no
So
cheap thrill.
If you want me to come sing and you say, what my price do I? Okay, let me take it down a little lower. I just want to get out there and sing.
It's different.
It's,
Right.
it's a different for everybody.
And I think we have a scarcity mindset and not an abundance mindset, right? Because we got a tourism product. We're bringing in 7 million. The aim is to exceed 10 million per year. That's all of the audience you need. That's your audience right there. And every artist could have a space to perform it.
But you know what, too?
Go ahead.
Let me just add one more thing, too. And you know what is another problem we have in this country? Back then, when I came up, you could rehearse. I'm telling you, when I sang with the bands, we had rehearsal X amount of times a week. You didn't go up on stage figuring out, okay, well, I just tinkering. No, okay? That has changed, where it's such a more or less a hustle for our musicians that even now to find, say, band, everybody, they don't want to be committed to one band and kind of tweak and perfect that product anymore. You have a few like how, oh my God, what's the band now? Oh, geez, I could forget my friend's name. But anyway, there are a few bands out there that really mastered that, where they have like Naomi Rose, they're good. And then you have Essence Band, they have rehearsals. And in order for you to perfect your talent, you have to rehearse. You can't just be going hustling.
Look here, Willis and the Illis was one of the best reggae bands in the country. And they practice more than they perform.
Yes, and that's how it's supposed to be.
They just do charge too. Anyway, but let's go to this caller here, and still we needed help.
Listen,
where everybody is at, right? Anyway,
this
go ahead. Let's pass the call to
God is talking about so along with you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Berman.
What I want to ask the lady, right? I want to ask if she ever used to entertain at the Sugar Hill Club.
Who were the bands at the Sugar Hill Club?
Yeah, if she ever entertained there.
Oh, have you ever performed at the Sugar Hill Club?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Where's that? I didn't
Say it
know.
again?
Where was that,
Where's
Berman?
Sugar Hill Club?
That's what's in the Foxhill area, right? in Foxhill.
Oh, no, I never did anything in the Foxhill area.
Yeah, but what I want to say is, right, basically, the politicians would cause us the Bahamian music to go under, because when they start introducing them to Paradise Island and stuff like that, that started, the business started to go down in during that year, right? But other than that, you could go any place in Nassau any hour of the morning and find a club in which you could go to and enjoy yourself. But like I said, the politicians are the ones that change that and cause it to start to go down.
Bremen, we can talk about that on the Independence Papers. We can have a more critical conversation about that moment in time, because you're not the first person to have raised that, right? The idea that when the hotels opened up and began accepting Bahamian acts, that there was a shift, and that changed the whole atmosphere and environment for the creation of music.
Very much
There
so.
were
Thank
plenty
you.
venues.
I know.
Thank you.
There was
Yeah, thank you,
plenty
Raymond.
venues.
But without a doubt, right, an exploration into Bahamiana, because we asked the question yesterday, has there been a betrayal of Bahamiana, right? Have people who should be stakeholders for Bahamian culture, have they in some way been derelict? We often quickly blame the young people. We just can say, look here, it's the young people who don't like Bahamian culture. It's the young people who don't like rake and scrape. I tell you all a lie, because Bloody say, Mahalia, where you been, gal? I've been looking for you. It's young people
And the
singing
first
that.
time I heard him was at at the All Bahamian concert. That was, I had heard people talk about Bloody.
Yeah, like Bloody.
And he was very, very good, very entertaining. I mean, he had the crowd. He had the crowd.
Bloody like Avi, they could beat up a road, right? But Bloody don't have any videos out there. It's hard to find Bloody's work, covers and original music. Bloody, we've been looking for you.
And the thing with taking Bahamian music, saying, oh well, the young people, they ain't really into it. Believe it or not, we the ones that actually carrying it around the world, because when me and my Bahamian friends link up at college, we putting that music on the speaker. We say, give me that aux. We put that on the speaker. We say, listen to what they saying. I say, listen to the story now. Because my favorite one is Ghost Move. I say, listen to the story. You hear what he's saying? How he gone down to go see the gal and his wife at home and find him. And my friends, my American friends, love it. They love my culture, and they say, oh, I have to go to the Bahamas now. Believe it or not, we the ones sharing it around, man.
In fact, there's a video.
That's deep, though, Aaron.
There's a video from Government High School, right? Bahamian band performing to exchange students from the U.S. So students their own age. In there.
Yeah.
A Bahamian girl, she had to have been 35.
Man, I didn't teach my friend how to scull the boat, man.
It's a soul thing. It's
Bahamian is not
passion
lost
thing,
to young people.
No.
It has been transferred to the other generation. Just that there's no definition of what is being transferred. We just know that we're transferring something that has belonged to
Our
us.
Look here,
culture.
we gonna rob
That's
out
what's
that.
gonna be
Gifting.
transferred.
So
Yeah.
I think we're tapping into something right here when we talk about how there's exchange, because one of the main things you find in the older generation and the people that were calling in and talking about how the live music was alive, you find that there were artists like we need to actually have this spirit of collaboration in terms of those artists that came from the United States and came to the Cat and the Fiddle, like they were exchanging with the Bahamian artists, and that's part of that was also a part of getting the music to also be out there as well, because it's through collaboration. If we find other ways to collaborate with other artists around the world, not just in America but around the world, like you see people like Burna Boy, all these people, it's like the more we think about networking in that way too, that's also going to help the Bahamian culture, so people can know, oh wow, like I heard this when I was here, or I worked with this artist from the Bahamas and we played this song, and you find that starts to also create the spark, and that will also create some level of like new findings that that will only just help Bahamian canon. And I think that like we need to build that too in terms of the musicians talking with other musicians that are from different parts of the world, also just being open to like the knowledge that we can learn from different people from Cuba, people from Brazil. Like there's so much music around the world that if we start to also just like how you say tourism and that being a big part of it, if we start collaborating with artists from out there, people are always going to flock to this place because we have it all here.
As we go to the break and we close out this segment, we start with you, Gifton. Tell us how to get in contact with you, like your social media presence. Where are you performing next, and where can we find your work? And then we're going to go through the studio, including you, Mark. I know you got a song in you too. All right, Gifton.
So I am actually, you can find me on Instagram at Gifton, at Giveton. My Facebook is Gifton Gelin, Giveton Gelin. And you can also find my latest album, True Design, on all streaming platforms. Just True Design with me, with my full name, Gifton Gelin. And I'm also right now, we're working on this thing called In the Shed to actually bring educational outreaches to the Bahamas later in the year. So starting in October, we're going to be working with Jacaranda House to also help young students, young talent in the Bahamas as well, create opportunities for them. So look out for that. I'm also talking a lot about that on my social media platforms.
And
the next album is Island Dreamer, which is coming out later in the year as well. So
you see the Prime Minister's talking about opening a school for the arts, so start putting your curricula together.
Exactly. It's all coming together.
The Prime Minister like singing, these try do a little number to not singing to it.
Sing and you never hear me. I see him matching the roach and singing.
No, okay.
Singing to one mango tree.
Exactly.
Yes,
Okay, Eden?
Okay, my name is Elena Eden. You can find me on Facebook at Elena Eden. That's ALENA EDEN. Also on Instagram at elena.eden.
There you go.
Okay. And
Well,
Sherelle?
as for me, you'll be hearing from me shortly. I am in the process of reviving my profession. As I'm an entrepreneur as well. I told you I took a little hiatus. Now, in between my breaks, I did do a few things like the Jazz in the Park, Clifton Heritage prior to the pandemic. I am called for a lot of special events. Like I tell people, they got the money, I got the time.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll put together the repertoire, for the occasion, and that's it. But I'm gearing now to getting back into the studio. Like I said, to start off with that tribute album to Maureen DeValier. So you will probably hear the next single. I wanted to have it out prior to Independence, but business-wise, I had to put it on the back burner for a bit. But that's going to be coming out this year, and then eventually an album.
Awesome. This is awesome. Producer, take us to the break. Play that song, Shine. I know I told you that you had the new Bahamian anthem, but you got to check out this song called Bahamas Golden Anniversary. To our guest today, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
You may want to chime in after the break.
Thank
We're
you.
not running you from the studio, but we are shifting gears slightly. Stay tuned to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. You're tuned into Guardian Radio AM with Cecil Newry. We'll be right back.
Nassau is the capital, Bahamas. Bimini is the gateway, Bahamas. 1492, Columbus landed. 1973, we were free. From Nassau to Inagua, Bahamas. From Freeport to Miguana, Bahamas. Tourists love our country, Bahamas. 700 islands, Bahamas.
As the Bahamas observes 50 years of independence, the Nassau Guardian is doing something special for our readers. During the week of July 3rd, as we count down to Independence Day, we will roll out a series of publications to mark this momentous occasion. We will remember the events that led us to becoming a nation-state. We will trace our development over the last 5 decades, and we will consider where we want to be in the next 50. You don't want to miss our exciting lineup of independence supplements, as each is guaranteed to be a keepsake. Happy Independence, Bahamas, from the Nassau Guardian, your trusted source for news.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Happy anniversary, Bahamas. Happy independence, Bahamas. Golden anniversary, Bahamas. Regarding in Tuma, Bahamas. Fishing in Long Island, Bahamas. Sailing on the Melbourne, Bahamas. Diving funk in West End, Bahamas. Peas and rice and fried fish, Bahamas. Our Bahamas. Flamingo from Inagua, Bahamas. That island started raking spray, Bahamas. Happy Independence, Bahamas. Happy anniversary, Bahamas. Happy Independence, Bahamas. Golden anniversary, Bahamas. Nassau is the capital, Bahamas. Bimini is the gateway, Bahamas. 1492, Columbus landed. 1973, we were free. Jungle to on Bay Street, Bahamas. They go to church on Sunday, Bahamas. Come solid on the weekend, Bahamas. Catching private address, Bahamas.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry.
I like how you just up and start the whole show.
You forget what I tell you at 10 a.m.
Use the Prime Minister.
I use the PM now.
And I see you just anyway. Aaron, we have a number of things I need you to throw out, continuing the conversation we had yesterday about the Bahamian Files. What do you call it again?
Independence Papers.
Independence Papers.
But so I want to say thank you. This Bahamiana series that you are doing is awesome.
Yes, I believe we need to flesh out what is Bahamian and what is Bahamiana and what is our culture and define us as a people.
Right. So I just had a couple of things I had wanted to talk about. Just two concepts, two things I want to throw out there in this short time, things that should be considered collectively for the 50th independence.
Go ahead.
Now, I want to throw this phrase out there. I think we have a problem. I think we have more dollars than sense. And I think we need
That is a Bahamian phrase. I'm not sure if we originated it, but I understand dollars and cents.
Yeah, we have more dollars than cents, and I think we could have a whole series of conversations just on that. But I think we also see that arise, that culture arise.
That's a thesis statement you made just now.
Even in this music conversation that we're having, and the ways in which the decision to solve problems with money, right, have impacted the music industry. And I think the inclusion of the DJ, right, in that music sphere is a perfect example of that.
I would go as far as even regatta has impacted our development of our music, because now everybody at regatta plays what do you call it, other people's music.
Covers.
They play covers instead of developing their own music,
right?
Or having a space where we producing music all the time,
right? And then because we don't understand to do that, right? To have artists cover their own music at these events, right? The music has to be released well before the event. Mm-hmm. That's been the biggest critique with the Independence Secretariat's organizing of this Golden Jubilee, is that you haven't given us access to the music that you want us to celebrate. Mm-hmm. How is that artist going to be popular if we, the public, don't have access to the music in time? The song we came back from the break with and went to the break, Bahamas Golden Anniversary. This song been playing for 4 days and everybody know it.
But mind you, that this was released prior. Remember, he had an interview and everyone said, "What kind of music is this?"
Because he was doing the a cappella and he didn't really have the music or the tempo.
But we were waiting for it to say, "Okay, let's hear this final product." What are you talking about?
And guess what? People love it.
And people love it.
And in the same way, it's been treated in the same way as Independence Morning, like a baby borning.
Yes.
At first, some of us were a little uncomfortable. But when the rhythm lick you, right, and you realize that this is it, this is good.
And it's part of Bahamiana.
And it's a part of Bahamiana. No matter how bougie you think you are, you say, oh, this is not the proper composition of anything. They don't care. People turn and say, that's Bahamiana, though.
But this Bahamian Celebration song, right?
Yeah.
They did not win.
No.
So I want to know, if this did not win, what was the top song? Because the top song got to be high end and premiere. I want to know what it is. I want to hear it. I want to play it on the air. I want to celebrate it also.
Yeah, and we should have been given an opportunity to hear it. So when it is released officially, then we could all be singing in the audience with the song, right? And it has the energy that you expect it to have.
But let me bait Mark quickly. Right? We got time to go?
No, this is the last thing. We had the 12 o'clock.
Yes.
I say it.
Mark, you saying compa is part of Bahamian music?
Well, it has interesting history. It has the history of African history. It's got swing, American jazz. So there is the historic thing. And, given that we have a large Bahamian population of Haitian descent, I'm just wondering whether our genre would be able to eventually encompass compa. Because it is, I'm starting to listen to it.
Bahamians ready to embrace no compa as part of their music, though, as a part of their